Great. So if you look at that question, of course, we completed the first part, that example question. So I want us to move to another question written down there, that is Metec Limited. Let's see what we have under Metec Limited. So let's read the question there and see. We are being told that Metec Limited is in the process of developing a new product branded Valida. During its expected life cycle, it is estimated that 16,000 units of Valida will be sold at a price of shillings 250 per unit. Additional information. The direct material and other non-related costs or non-labor related costs will be 150 shillings per unit throughout the life of the product. Production is expected to be in batches of 1,000 units throughout the life of the product. Production is supposed to be in batches of 1,000 units each. And for the entire life cycle of this particular product, they're supposed to produce 16,000 units. So how many batches are we going to have here? How many batches are we going to have there? You should start it from that point. How many batches will we have? 16. Good. The direct labor cost is expected to reduce due to the effects of learning for the first 8 batches produced. It means for the first 8,000 units. Thereafter, the labor cost will remain at the same cost per batch as the 8th batch, not 8, but the 8th batch. Then the direct labor cost of the first batch of 1,000 units is expected to be shillings 120,000. A learning effect of 80% is expected to occur. The learning index for an 80% learning curve is equivalent to negative 0.322. Required average direct labor cost per batch for the first 8 batches. Direct labor cost of the 8th batch. Contribution to the earnings or contributions to be earned from the product over its life cycle. So that is what we have there. If you look at that question, first of all, we are being tested on a very interesting concept there. Remember, our formula was y x is equal to a x b plus 1. This b is equivalent to log r over log 2. Is it? And r is the learning effect. So have we been given the value of r in the question? We have been given r to be 80%, which is the same as 0.8. Then have we been given x or a? Have we been given a? I want you to help me to identify a, because with a, we'll be able to do something. Have we been given the value of a in the question? Yes, we have been given that the cost of labor for producing 1 unit or the first batch is equivalent to 120,000. That is what we have there. Then the next thing that we have been given in the question, we are being told there that they are going to do production in batches of 1,000, and the lifespan of this product is basically giving us 16,000 units. So it means we are going to have 16 batches. Is it? The 16 batches is the total batches to be done for the lifespan of this particular product. So are we able to get this? We now have a x. X will keep on changing depending on what you want to calculate. So the first thing is the average direct labor cost per batch of the first 8 batches. Do we know how we are going to use this 0.8? We need to get the value of B. Is it? So here, for us to get y, our x for this case is equivalent to 16. If you want to get that, that is what we have, but we are told the first 8 batches. So with x of 8, our y at 8 will be equivalent to a times x, which is 8 raised to power b plus 1. So let's get the value of b. Let's get the value of b. We know very well that b is equal to log r, which is 0.8, divided by log 2. So what will be the value of b? Somebody to give us the value of b. Somebody to give us the value of b. Just go to your calculator. Log 0.8 divided by log 2. What do you have? To at least 4 decimal places. What do we have? Negative 0.3219. So is it now clear to all of us? Is it now clear? Ross, confirm. Is it now clear? Good. Are you able to see this anywhere within the question? Are you able to see it anywhere within the question? Are you able to see it anywhere within the question? Good. So normally examiner, in some cases, the examiner will be giving you this, taking the learning effect to be this, and that is the value of b. So after getting the value of b, we now go ahead to calculate our y, which is said y for the first 8 batches, we are supposed to have a, which is 120,000. We multiply by 8 raised power, this one here plus 1. So b plus 1, whatever you're getting in the calculator plus 1, what will you have? What will you have? It will be a positive. What will you have? 0.676781. So go ahead and give me the total labor cost for the first 8 batches. Just take this raised power, this one, and then you multiply by 120,000. What are you getting? The total labor cost for the first 8 batches. The total labor cost for the first 8 batches. What will we have? Yes, what will we have there? Are we getting something? Are we getting something? 491,548. Okay, I'm told it is 491,548. How about the rest? Are you getting the same? 548, 549 if you round off. 549. So that is the total labor cost of producing the first 8 batches. Remember, another thing that you need also to remember, if you can recall what we did yesterday, they were not giving us the total labor cost. They were giving us the labor hours. So if you're given to deal with the labor hours, for you to get the cost, you'll take the hours multiplied by the rate per hour. But here they have multiplied that and they're giving us the rate per hour or per unit. And with that rate, we now go ahead and get the total rate of producing the first 8 batches. Are we able to know the number of units within the first 8 batches? One batch has got 1,000. So it means this was the labor cost incurred to produce how many units? 8,000 units. Good. So that is what we're supposed to do in Roman 1. We are done with Roman 1 of the question. We are done with Roman 1 of that question. Let's go to Roman 2 and see. Required direct labor cost of the 8th batch. Not the 8 batches. Yes, we've done the first 8. But now that 8th batch, how much are you going to incur to produce the 8th batch? What are you supposed to do? You tell us that for us to know the cost of producing the 8th batch, it will be y of the 8th or the first 8 batches, which is equivalent to a 8 raised to power b plus 1 less y at 7, which is equal to a times 7 raised power b plus 1. That is what we need to have there. So it will give us y equal to this, or you just give us this one here, just indicate that way without indicating equal to. It will be this minus what we have this other side. So are we able, because we already have the cost of producing the first 8 batches, it is what we've calculated here. What we need to look for is basically y of 7 equal to a times 7 raised to power b plus 1. If you go ahead, your y is equivalent to a does not change times x, which is now 7 raised to power b plus 1. Your b plus 1, your b is this one here. Plus 1 is giving us what is up there. So raised to power 0.6781. Then somebody should be able to give me the total for the first 7 batches. The total for the first 7 batches. The total for the first 7 batches. Tutakuwa na ngapi? The total for the first 7 batches. 448. 448,996. 448,996. So this is the total amount you are going to incur to produce the first 7 batches. This is the total amount you are going to incur to produce the first 8 batches. So it means amount incurred for the 8th batch is basically 491,549 less 448,996. So what will we have for the 8th batch? How much will you incur to produce the 8th batch? How much will you incur to produce the 8th batch? Shillings 42,553. Good. So is it now making sense? Is it now becoming easier to tackle? Is it now becoming easier to tackle? Great. Now look at how the examiner is giving you 3 marks down there in Roman number 3. Contribution to be earned from the product over its lifetime. We've already known that we are going to produce 16,000 units. And each batch, the first 8 batches, we are going to incur this amount. Is it? The first 8 batches, we are incurring this amount. That's number 1. Then look at that statement which they are giving us. There's a statement which we are being given in additional information number 3. The direct labor cost is expected to reduce due to the effects of learning for the first 8 batches produced. Thereafter, the labor cost will remain at the same cost per batch as the 8th batch. As you continue producing these goods in batches, the first batch, the second, the third, that cost will be reducing because these people are continuing to learn until you produce the 8th unit. The cost incurred to produce the 8th unit is what will now apply to all other goods produced after that particular batch. So it means the amount which was incurred to produce the 8th batch will apply to the last 8 batches. Are we together? The learning will stop at the first 8 batches. Learning will stop at this point when they're going to produce the 8th batch. Anything after that will now be going at the rate of producing the 8th batch. So let's do that together. The first 8 batches. The first 8 batches, how much did they incur? The first 8. So first 8 batches they incurred 491,549. Then the last 8 batches, we are told the production cost per batch or labor cost per batch is equivalent to that of producing the 8th batch. So it is basically equivalent to 42,553. We multiply by how many batches are remaining. The life of the project has got 16 batches. We've produced 8 batches. So we have a balance of 8 batches. So let's go ahead and get the total cost you are going to incur to produce the last 8 batches. How much will you incur? 42 times this. How much will you incur? Will be 491,549 plus 340,424. If you add everything, how much are you getting? If you add everything, how much are you getting? You're getting 831. 831,973. So that's the amount you're going to incur to produce all the 16 batches. And remember, these 16 batches has got how many units? 16,000 units. So what do they want us to do there? What do they want us to do there? We are being told that required contribution to be earned from the production or from the product over its useful life. So we've incurred this amount as the labor cost. Do we have the material cost? Do we have the material cost there? Look at what we are being told. Additional information number 1. The direct material and other non-labor related cost will be 150 per unit, not per batch. 150 shillings per unit. So this is total labor cost. Then material cost, we are told, is 150 shillings per unit. How many units do we have? We have a total of 16,000 units which were placed into batches. So how much will be our total material cost? Total material cost, 150,000 by 16,000. What will be our total material cost? Total material cost, then we get total variable costs. Total material costs, what will we have? 2,400,000. That is our total material cost. So if you add everything, what will you have? Is it 3 million? What will you have? If you add everything there, this plus this, tutakuwa na ngapi? 3,231,973. 3,231,973. That is the total variable cost. How do we normally get contribution? Contribution is equivalent to total revenue or sales less total variable costs. Do we have total revenue anywhere? Do we have total revenue? We can get total revenue somewhere here. Our total revenue is equivalent to selling price per unit. We multiply by the units that were sold, which is 16,000. What is your total revenue? sorry, not even 150. It's supposed to be, is it really 150? Additional information number 1? Or is it number, not even additional information, the first paragraph? Medtech Limited is in the process of developing new product branded Valida. During its expected life, it is estimated that 16,000 units will be sold at a price of shillings 250,000. The selling price is 250,000. So how much do we have? How much do we have? 4 million. When I take my revenue, which is 4 million, less contribution, less total variable cost, this one here, I should be able to get contribution. So go ahead and give me contribution. Go ahead and give me contribution. What is our contribution? 768,027. 768,027. So that's what you are supposed to do. That is what you are supposed to do for you to be able to get those free marks that were given there. That's what you are supposed to do for you to be able to get those free marks that we were given down there. So are things now becoming simple and easier? Are things now becoming very interesting? Are we getting something now? Are we getting something now? Great. So having done that, I want us to just move down there and see another version of the same question.
Also for investors who want to explore the airline industry,
to see another version of the same concept. So let's just move down there. Let's just move down there and see what is going on. And if you go to your past papers, you will see it is almost appearing in every sitting. You'll be able to find this particular concept. So the next one we have Shahada Limited. So let's look at what Shahada Limited. Let's look at what Shahada Limited is presenting to us. Shahada Limited produces and sells product X. The product requires skilled labor and entails a learning curve effect in its production. An extract of the production hours of the product is provided below. We have cumulative production units, and then we have cumulative time in hours. Then additional information. The following information relates to the previous production period. 1, cumulative production at the start of the period. The following information relates to the production of the previous period. That previous period, the starting production units that were there was 528. The production during the year was 86 units. Then the standard and budgeted data for the product were as follows. During that previous period, their budgeted production was 86 units. Their budgeted overheads was 150,903. Their standard labor cost was 10 shillings per hour. I believe you understand we are going to use that. Their standard material cost was equivalent to 250 shillings per unit. Then the learning curve rate, that is question number 1. Number 2, the unit production cost of product X during the previous production period. So the first thing we are required to give the learning curve rate. Imagine now, in the previous questions that we've been doing, we were being given the learning effect. We are being told 90%, 85%, 80%. Now here, the examiner has given you everything. They want you to calculate that. They want you to work backwards and calculate that. So let's see what we have here. Let's see what we have in the question. For you to understand how this concept works, the first thing, please ensure that you're able to have that formula somewhere. Y, which is x, equal to a multiplied by x raised power b plus 1. If you have this, you'll be able to identify the unknowns and work backwards to get what you need. We all know that A is the time taken to produce 1 unit, or the first unit. Not just one, but time taken to produce the first unit. So let's look at it. Are we able to get that? Time was given there in hours. What is the value of A? If you look at what we are given there, are we able to identify the value of A? Are we able to identify the value of A? It is the time taken to produce the first unit. And cumulative production is given there in units. Cumulative time is given there in hours. I want to see if these people are really following what you are doing. Are we able to see? A, time taken to produce the first unit is 200. We have it there. Then, another thing that you have been given there, time taken to produce the first 2 units. Time taken to produce the first 2 units, that is Y of the first 2, is equivalent to A, which is 200, times X, our X is 2, raised power B plus 1. Raised power B plus 1. Then we have, that is what we have there. That's what we have there. So look at the function here. What is our Y? I want to ask you a simple question. Y, when it is 1, our X is 1, is basically equivalent to A to produce the first unit, raised power X, which is 1, or multiplied by 1, raised power B plus 1. Raised power B plus 1. Raised power B plus 1. So that is what we have. That is what we have. Now, are we able to get that B plus 1? Remember, the time taken to produce the first unit is equivalent to 200. So whatever you have here should be equivalent to, your 200 should be equivalent to this times this raised power B plus 1. This one also, the first 2 units will be this, equal to this 200 raised to raised power B plus 1. But I don't want to confuse you with this other part. Let's deal with this one here only. Are we able to see where we have Y2? Can someone help me identify the value of Y2? Y2 is the time taken to produce the first 2 units. Do we have it anywhere? Do we have it anywhere? Time taken to produce the first 2 units. Cumulative time that is required to produce the first 2 units. Do we have it anywhere? Do we have it anywhere? Yes, 360. So it means when we come to this point here, our 360 is equivalent to 200 multiplied by 2 raised power B plus 1. So already we've seen we are now not having 2 unknowns. As opposed to up here, we were still having 2 unknowns. Y2 is equal to 200 times 2 raised power B plus 1, whereby X, or this 2 represents X, this one here. Now, moving down, we've been able to identify one of the unknowns. We had 2 unknowns, but we've been able to identify one of the unknowns. So we only have one unknown, which is basically B plus 1. So how will we calculate this B plus 1? We only need the value of B, and we all know that for you to get B is equal to log R over log 2. So the examiner does not want you to give us the value of B. The examiner needs learning effect. What is our learning effect? The examiner wants you to get the value of R. So see the distance we need to follow for us to get R. We still have a long way to go for us to arrive at that point when you are calculating R. So we need to get B first before you even get to this point. So let's now carve this in place. At this point, what you need to do, this times 2 raised to power B plus 1, what you want to do to make this simple, divide both sides by 200. Divide both sides by 200. What are we going to have? Of course, this one will be 1. How about this other one? How about the other one? So we'll be having 1.8. 1.8 is equivalent to 2 raised to power B plus 1. Raised to power B plus 1. So what do I need to do? For me to work out this one in a simple way, introduce log. So I will say, this other side, basically you say B plus 1 log 2. B plus 1 log 2 is equivalent to log 1.8. Is equivalent to log 1.8. Having done that, let's now collect them to be together. So we divide this side by log 2. We divide this side by log 2. This one is gone. This one is gone. So we have B plus 1 is equivalent to log 1.8 divided by log 2. What are you getting? Log 1.8 divided by log 2. What will you have? Log 1.8 divided by log 2. The way it is, just go to your calculator. Log 1.8 divided by log 2. What will we have here? 0.8480. So we have 0.8480. That is what we have. Are you able to go ahead and give me the value of B? B is equal to 0.8480 minus 1. So what is the value of B? The value of B, are we getting the value of B? The value of B, negative 0.15, negative 0.1520. That is what we are getting, is it? Now come to our formula, which we said, how do we get B? B is equal to log R over log 2. Is it? Log R divided by log 2. So come and do us a very simple thing here. Negative 0.1520 is equal, that is B, is equal to log R, which we do not have, log R divided by log 2. This R is unknown, so just have log R, or maybe over 1, so you cross multiply, log R, log R, log R is equivalent to negative 0.1520 times log 2. So our log R will be equivalent to, just say the answer which you have there, answer times log 2. Answer by log 2. What will you have here? To at least 4 or 5 days, 4 decimal places will be okay. What will we have? What will we have? Just go to your calculator. Negative 0.1520 times log 2. What will we have? What will we have? What will we have? Ross has given us something there. Can someone confirm? 0.04576. Negative 0.04576. Good. I have log R equal to this, and I want to get R. What do I do? If I want to get R now, not log R, what do I do? What do I do? I need to get the anti-log. Just get the anti-log. Anti-log R. So anti-log divide by anti-log. So divide both sides by the anti-log, you'll be able to get your R. Anti-log of this, or R is equivalent to anti-log negative 0.04576. So what will be the value of R? If you get the anti-log of your answer, just go to Shift, then click on that log. What will you get? Anti-log of the answer which you are having there. Shift, you click on the log, then answer. What will you have? I want to see those who are effectively using their calculators. What will we have there? The anti-log of the answer. The anti-log of the answer will be equivalent to 0.9. 0.9 is the learning effect. 0.9 is the learning effect. You can even confirm. Remember how you are getting B, you are saying, so just take your log, just take your log, just take your log, just take your log, just say log 0.9 divided by log 2. Then confirm if you're getting the value of B as this one here. Confirm. Will you have that as the value of B? Confirm, confirm. Log 0.9 divided by log 2. Is it giving you something close to this? Is it giving you something close to that? If you confirm, is it giving you something close to that? Yes, good. So that's what you are required to do. By just doing this, you are free around, was it 4 or 5 marks? 4 marks. Just getting the value of R. You've not done anything beyond this. You already have, you are free 4 marks. So that is it. That is what you are required to do in the first part of that question. That is what you are required to do in the first part of that question, getting R. Getting R. So let's now go to part B. Question, yes. Question, go ahead. Go ahead and ask the question. Maybe I can allow you to unmute for purposes of time. Okay, so go ahead and ask the question.
Hello, Mayumi.
Yes.
Good evening.
Evening to you.
Good, eh?
Let's see if you are going to have something close to that. Y4 is equal to the amount or the hours for the first unit. You multiply by X, which is 4, raised power B plus 1. Is it? This one here, we already have it as 648. So 648 is equivalent to 200 by 4 raised power B plus 1. So divide both sides by 200. So what are you getting here? Give me this figure. 648 divided by 200. So it is giving us 3.24 is equal to 4 raised power B plus 1. Introduce log. We are going to have log 3.24 is equal to B plus 1 log 4. Is it? B plus 1 log 4. So divide both sides by log 4. Divide both sides by log 4. So B plus 1 is equal to this one here. Log 3.2 divided by 3.24 divide by log 4. What will you have? What will you have? 0.848. Good. You have this. So give me the value of B. What's the value of B? Or even if you use what you have there, 8490, maybe, if that's what you're getting. What are you having here? The value of B, negative 0.1520. Now, B is equal to log R over log 2. We have B as negative 0.1520 is equal to log R, which we do not know, divided by log 2. So multiply both sides by log 2, multiply both sides by log 2. Log R is equal to, so log 2 multiplied by that negative, what will you have? Log 2 multiplied by this negative, what will you have here? What will you have here? Log 2 times negative 0.1520. Itakuwa na ngapi? Negative 0.04576. So give me the antilog of that. The antilog of that. Antilog of that will take you to 0.9. Are they not the same? Are they not the same? Okay, so during your free time, try using the first 8 units and see if you'll be able to arrive at the same answer. Good. So let's now move to part B of that question. I believe we are within the time. So part B of the question, we are being told unit production cost of product X during the previous production period. Now, very interesting. Unit production cost, remember what you did in management accounting. For us to get the product cost, we need direct material. And there they are talking about unit. So the cost per unit. Direct material, we need direct labor. If we add these two, we are supposed to arrive at what we call, or any other direct production costs. Then we should be able to arrive at what we call prime cost. When we add production overheads, which are divided into two, the variable and the fixed, then it should give us now the product cost. So direct material, direct labor, then we get prime cost. When we, any other direct expense, we'll be able to get prime cost. After getting prime cost, we add production overheads, which we know very well. We have fixed production overhead, we have variable production overhead. This specification here, we are going to do more of it when we get now to transfer pricing, whereby you're going to look at marginal and absorption costing. Here, we bring all of them, and then we get product cost. After having the product cost, you will give us markup. It will give us markup for us to be able to arrive at what we call selling price. Maybe a given percentage of the production cost, then you arrive at the selling price. So all this, I think, is given. The only thing they have not given you, which you need to calculate under this topic, is this one here. Is that one there. And there's no big difference between advanced management accounting and AFR or AFM. What you need to do is, you've been given a question of this kind. You don't understand how to get direct labor, and they want you to arrive at the product cost. Do you know what they are going to do? Do you know what they normally indicate in the marking scheme? This is what we are going to indicate for you in the marking scheme. for 1 mark for any 4 correct answers. So here, you don't understand this, but you've been able to indicate the correct value for direct material. You don't understand direct labor, but you've been able to give us the direct production costs or indirect production costs. You don't understand this, but you've been able to give us the production overhead. How many marks do you have? 3 out of 4. But someone, by seeing that they're not able to understand anything about learning curve, they were not in class, they will skip this question and do nothing. So if you do nothing, we are going to do this and then say 0/4. But whoever did not attend the class but was able to identify these basic things is already having 3/4. So what is the strategy? Please try to attempt the questions. If you don't understand anything about this and you know it is about learning curve, can you write the formula, give us even, scale us with the value of A? Tell us that according to this, I know A is equal to maybe 200. Scarce, give us now that because I know how to get B equal to log R divided by log 2. Scarce with this one, calculate it and get the value of B. By just doing that, you'll have 1 mark. If that 1 mark you add to this, even without getting the correct answer, you already have your 4/4. So that's the strategy. That's the strategy which we need to follow and try to attempt at least all the questions. Now, we've already known that A is equal to 200, is it? B, we've been able to get the value of B, which is equal to log R. Log R, we have R somewhere as 0.9. Log R divided by log 2 is giving us negative 0.1520. And we know that y, x is equal to A multiplied by x raised to power B plus 1. So that one we know very well. Let's now go to the question and identify what the examiner wants us to do. So within that question, we are being told that additional information number 1, the following information relates to the previous production period. Cumulative production at start of the period. At the start of the period, they had cumulative of 5. So at the start, they had 528. Production during the period, we have 86. Total goods produced so far. Total goods produced so far will be equivalent to how many units? Total goods produced so far will be equivalent to how many units? Total goods produced will be equivalent to how many units? If we add 614. The main purpose of this topic here is that as you continue to do the same work, you are getting conversant with it, and you are going to reduce the time you are taking to produce the same product. You are going to increase the quality. You're going to increase the efficiency of producing the same product. And that's what you are looking at. So this particular product, these same people have managed to produce a total of 614 units. This 528 was produced at the start. They already produced 528. During that same period, they produced 86. So in total, 614. And all these 614 are operating under learning effect. So let's go ahead and see what we have there. And we are being told that the standard and budgeted data for the products were as follows. Standard labor cost 10, budgeted overheads 150,903, standard material cost 250 per unit. Now, what are we lacking here? What are we lacking here? We need to get, so we are being told the following information relates to the previous period's production. We have production during the period. So in that particular period, the total overheads, which includes now the labor cost, was given there as a total of, was given to us as a total of 150,093. So 150,903, but this overheads depends on the units of output, which in that particular period is equivalent to 86. Is it? That's what we need to get for us to have cost per unit. When I come to direct, this one here, it is not there in our question, so you're not going to deal with it. Direct material, we have been given 250 per unit. So direct labor is what we need. But the units produced in that particular period, 86. So what do we need to do? What we are going to do is this. We need to apply the learning effect for us to get the time taken to produce the 86 units. Is it? So look at it. How do I get the total time taken to produce 86 units? How do I get that? It will be time taken to produce the first 614 units. Will be time taken to produce the first unit times 614 raised to power b plus 1. Then I need to get the time taken to produce the first 528 units. Units. If that is done, if I get the time taken to produce the first 614, everything, less time taken to produce the first 528, what will be that answer? It will be representing the difference between these two. The difference between these two will be representing time taken to produce how many units? The difference between the two will be the time taken to produce how many units? Kama tunaelewana. At the start, they are already produced 528. At the end, they have 614. The first 614 is this. The first 528 is this. Hapo katikati kuna gap. Not the 86 units, but the 86 units. Remember, there's difference between the 86th. If you want to get for the 86th, you get 86, the first 86, then you get the first 85. The difference between the two will give you the cost incurred to produce the 86th unit. Here, we want to get the amount or the total labor hours which we are going to incur to produce the 86 units. I take total of everything, 614, because they are still under learning effect or learning curve. So this is it. I come and less time which was taken to produce the first 528. The difference will be for producing the 86 units. This one here. So I want you to go ahead now and help me get those figures. So here, I know very well that B was already calculated up there. So let's get this. Our B is basically, I want you to help me get this. B is equal to negative 0.1520, but we have said it is B plus 1. So what will it be? B plus 1? B plus 1 itakuwa ngapi? Negative 0.5 or 0.15. 20 itakuwa ngapi? 0.8480. 0.8480. 0.8480. So go ahead and give me the totals for each. Give me the totals here. The first one, for the first 614, how much do we have? The first 614 tutakuwa na ngapi? 46,280. And I want us to be very, very keen. Here, the other question which we just did up there, we were given the labor cost per unit. Here, we were given the labor hours per unit. So this one here will not be shillings, but it is hours. Let's go to the second one. 528. 528. So you just take 528 raised power, the same figure here, by 200. Utapata ngapi? Tutakuwa na 721 hours. Then hours taken to produce 86 units. Labor hours of producing 86 units during the period. Ni ngapi? 559, is it? 559 hours. Good. Now we have 555 or 5,559 labor hours. Look at our additional information number 2. The standard labor cost per unit or per hour. The standard labor cost per hour. Standard labor cost per hour is equivalent to standard labor cost per hour. Standard labor cost per hour. Standard labor cost per hour. Labor rate per hour, we are given there as 10 shillings. Then we have a total of 59 hours. Tutakuwa na ngapi? 59 times 10. Tunakuwa na ngapi? Tunakuwa na ngapi? Tunakuwa na ngapi? 590. Now not hours, but shillings. That is the total labor cost. This amount was incurred during the previous period. And in the previous period, how many units did they manage to produce? How many units did they manage to produce? How many units? In the previous period. No, that is the start. At the start, remember all this data is for the previous period. But at the start of that previous period, they had 528. During that previous period or during the period, they managed to produce 86. So it is 86 units that were produced in that period. What was the average labor cost per unit? What was the average labor cost per unit? Labor. This one was labor rate per hour. So labor rate per unit. Tutakuwa na ngapi? Labor rate per unit. Labor rate per unit tutakuwa na ngapi? Labor rate per unit tutakuwa na ngapi? Yes, tell me something. If you divide the two, what will you have? If you divide the two, what will you have? It is only one person getting the answer. Really? 646.4 maybe. 646.4. That is the labor cost per unit. Cost per unit. So you are lacking direct labor cost per unit, which we've been able to calculate as 646.4. How about this you are to give me this 15903 divided by 86. Ni ngapi? 15903 divided by 86. 15903 divided by 86 for us to get production overheads. Tutakuwa na ngapi? Tutakuwa na ngapi? Tutakuwa na ngapi? And then you see how this topic is interesting, and imagine in every sitting you are going to get it. So these are some of the low-hanging fruits which we need to start harvesting as early as today. Direct material, direct labor, then production overheads. So direct labor have been given 646.4. This one you are given 250 per unit. And this other one you are now giving me 1754.7. When we add all that, what will you have? So just say unit production cost or product X. Tunapata ngapi total? Total yenye tunapata ni ngapi? Total yenye tunapata ni ngapi? Let's add it. Let's add that. What is the total for that particular product? The total for producing that product, tutapata ngapi? 2651.1. 2651.1. So that is what you are required to do in that particular question, and you are supposed to get your, is it 10 or 8 marks? 8 marks. Those are some of the free marks which you need to harvest before time elapses. So that is it about learning curve. And I want you to now go and check what was tested in the last sitting, that is August. I want us to look at what was tested in the August sitting. Then we see the practical now, again, application of the same. They can bring it within this setup. They can tell you to look for unknown. And in now the question you're supposed to tackle, or we are about to tackle, they are going to give you now different scenarios. Almost the true application of that concept in a manufacturing industry or setup. Let's go to that question and see. So let's go to August 2023. August 2023, question number 4. August 2023, question number 4. Very fast, I believe we all have that question. August 20. Let's see what is presented to us there. So we are being told that Green Coaches Limited is an electric bus assembly company. The company has received a special order from Transland Bus Company to supply 15 executive electric buses for the bus rapid transport project at a target price of shillings 8 million per bus. A target price, that is the selling price. Due to the novelty of the project and challenges of learning curve effect, the company wants to analyze 3 scenarios available before accepting the special order. These scenarios are: 1, to work overtime and deliver 15 buses within stipulated period. Scenario number 2, to complete 14 buses using overtime and deliver 1 bus later. Scenario number 3, to assemble and deliver the 13 buses without overtime and deliver 2 buses later. So let's look at the consequences. Number 1, the target profit margin is 20% of the target price per bus. The contract allows for 92 working days without overtime for assembly and delivery of buses and stipulates a penalty of 1.5 million for each bus delivered late. The time taken to complete the first bus is 10 days. Direct labor cost is shillings 180,000 per day for the normal working days per month, and overtime premium rate is double the normal rate. Overheads will be allocated to the special order at the rate of 30 shillings per normal working day, and no overtime will be allocated for overtime working. The management accountant estimate of direct material cost per bus is 2.5 million. The learning curve index is 90%. That is, learning rate is negative 0.152. I think that figure is now familiar. The learning curve model is in the form of y equal to a x raised power b. If it is raised power b, then it should be the cumulative. That y should be the average. Then required, evaluate each scenario, advise, or evaluating each scenario, advise the management on the most economical scenario using learning curve analysis. Using target costing approach, compute the cost saving of the most economical scenario identified in A above. So what we need to understand is very, very interesting there. So what do they want us to do? 1, produce, to work overtime and deliver the 15 buses within the stipulated period. So let's deal with scenario number 1. Scenario number 1. Scenario number 1. We are being told that the number of days taken to produce 1 bus is equivalent to 10 days. These people are required to produce X, which is 15. So let's just start with the scenario. Scenario number 1, and we are dealing with August 2023, question number 4. So under scenario number 1, they're supposed to produce all the 15 buses, but work overtime. The normal hours allowed is 92 hours. So are we able to identify even the overtime in the workings here? Y is equal to X equal to A times X raised to power B plus 1. So we have X, we have B somewhere. I want us to do something here. How many hours do they need to produce the 15 buses? So our X is 15. Remember scenario 1, they are working overtime to produce the 15 buses. Is it? They are working overtime to produce the 15 buses. So let's see the number of days they are going to take to produce the 15 buses. So let's take Y, which is 15, equal to A, number of days to produce the first bus, times 15 raised power B plus 1. And our B is negative 0.1520 plus 1. Tukifanya hivyo, how many days do we have? Maybe to 1 decimal place will be okay. Number of days. How many days do we have? Are we not supposed to use the Y equal to A raised power B? Is it minus or raised power? Okay, if you want to use that, this is what you are going to get. They just made a mistake there. If you use the average equal to A x raised power B. So after getting the average there, then you will give us y is equal to the average times x. If you use that, then you will be forced to take this times x. And I want us to confirm just within this place. So just give me this one first. Give me this, give me this. Give me this one here. If you use this first formula, tunapata ngapi? Tunapata ngapi? Somebody to confirm. 99 days. 99 days. Good. I want us to use this approach and compare if you're going to arrive at the same answer. Let's get the average first. The average will be A, which is 10 times X, which is 15, raised power negative 0.1520. Hapa unapata ngapi? Unapata ngapi hiyo average? Average tunapata ngapi? Average. Time is not on our side. Average tunapata ngapi? Aya, tumeshindwa tena. 6.626. 6.626. Give us the value of y, which is equivalent to the average 6.626 multiplied by x, which is 15. Unapata ngapi hapa? Unapata ngapi? If that is done, what is the figure? If that is done, what is the figure? Is it now clear? Are we now together? Have we seen the difference between the two formulas? Shady, have you seen that? In some books, they are going to give you it in this version. They are going to give you the average first. So if you are given the average, it is not B plus 1, it is B. If you use this one directly, the one we have been using all through, you don't need to again look for X. You just calculate it directly and you arrive at the same figure. So of course, you can decide the one to adopt, either this new one or the one that we've been using all along. Good. I want us to identify some interesting things here. This is the total time they are going to take to produce how many buses? 15. To assemble 15 buses. Now, the normal working days, as per that question we are told is 92. Is it? 92 days. Overtime, tumeambiwa overtime itakuwa ngapi sasa? The total number of days they need is 99. Normal working day has got 92 days. So overtime itakuwa ngapi? Overtime itakuwa ngapi? 7 days. They have decided to work overtime for them to deliver these buses. So let's look at the consequences. Let us look at the consequences of working overtime. One, let me get my question here very first. So if they work overtime to take scenario 1, this is what they are going to have. This is what they are going to. This is what they are going to have. No, I've shared the wrong question. Let me use this other one here. Can someone? Yes, I have it here. So if you look at scenario one, we are being told they're supposed to work overtime to deliver 15 buses within the stipulated period. So number one, additional information number two, the contract allows 92 days, working days without overtime for assembly and delivery of buses, and stipulates a penalty of 1.5 million for each bus delivered late. So number one, they have decided to work overtime to deliver all the 15 buses. So what will be the penalty? The cost of producing these buses. So one, are we able to see penalty? Penalty ni ngapi? Penalty ni ngapi? Per bus. Under this scenario, you are only penalized if you deliver it late. Their normal working days is 92, but they have decided to work overtime for them to deliver 15 buses within the stipulated period. So how much will be the penalty? How much will be the penalty? 0. Thank you. They have decided to deliver all the buses within the allowed period. Good. Then let's go to additional information number 3. The time taken to complete the first bus is 10 days. That was done. Direct labor cost is 180,000 per day for the normal working days per month. And overtime premium is at the rate is double the normal rate. So, mtu ashapotea jameni. We have now direct labor. One, we have normal days. Then we have overtime. Okay, Otieno, we are talking about this saying additional information or scenario number 1, to work overtime. They can work overtime and deliver these 15 buses within the time allowed. What will they do? They need to work overtime. That overtime, the employees will be paid, and the amount you pay to employees because they have worked overtime will be part of the cost of producing the 15 buses. Basically, our interest here is to get unit cost, not even unit cost, but the cost of producing 15 buses. Tunaelewana hapo? The cost of producing 15 buses. They have decided to produce all of them within the time allowed. So the penalty will be 0 because no bus will be pending. Why are they giving us that? Just read what we have in addition, scenario 2. To complete 14 buses using overtime and deliver 1 bus later. So that bus which they are going to deliver later, that one, it is beyond the time allowed. So they are going to be penalized for that particular bus. But in scenario number 1, they delivered everything on time and the penalty is 0. Direct labor, we are being told that the rate, the normal working days is 92 days. The normal working days is 92 days. Is 92 days. So they have worked for 99. It means the first 92 days, they're going to be paid at the normal rate. And what is the normal rate? Is going to be 92 by 180,000. The overtime worked by these employees will be paid at the rate of double the normal rate. And the overtime days is 7. So what will be the rate? What will be the rate? The overtime rate itakuwa ngapi? Let me put it here, direct labor. Normal days, we are told is 92. I've identified that overtime is 7 days. We multiply by, thank you, 360,000. 360,000. So have we been able to get the figures? 92 by 180 Then 7 by 360. Just start with the first one. 92 by 180. Tutakuwa na ngapi? Tuchangamke. 16, 560. 16, 560. How about the overtime? How about the overtime? 2520. Good. So I believe the rest are also getting that for the overtime. I believe the rest are also getting that for the overtime. Great. So let's go to additional information number 5. Overtime or overheads will be allocated to the special order at the rate of 30 shillings per normal working day, and no overheads will be allocated for overtime working. So we have overheads. We have overheads will be located or allocated at 30 shillings, 30,000 per day of the normal working days. 30,000 per day for the normal working days. The overtime will not be used to allocate or apportion the overheads. So how much is the overheads? 30,000 by 92. 2,760,000. 2,760,000. Good. Having done that, we are being told that number 6, the management accountant estimates of direct material cost per bus is 2.5 million. So we have now direct, which was supposed to be the first one, but I believe there is no arm. Let me just put it here. Direct material. You can put it anywhere, even if it is up there or down here, you'll still have your answer. 2,500,000. Okay. Do we have any cost incurred? There is none. So give us the total cost under scenario 1. Total production cost under scenario 1. Tutakuwa na ngapi? Total production cost of 15 buses under scenario 1. Tutakuwa na ngapi? 24. Direct material of 2 million per bus. Oh, well. Thank you. It is 2.5 million for each bus and there are 15 buses. So tutakuwa na ngapi hapa? Thank you for that. 37,500. Yes, 37,500,000. So you have to be keen on that. Now, if you add it now, what will you have? So it means, Otieno, your answer is not correct here. Adjust and add everything here now. Tutakuwa na ngapi? Tutakuwa na ngapi? Somebody to help us there. Let's add everything. There. 59,340. 59,340. So I have all this indicated there. Is it clear? Are we now okay with the workings of scenario 1? Have we seen something? Now, this is what I was talking about. As a student, I'm not able to do anything about the scenario, the learning curve. But if you look at this question, there are those free marks that will just come and pick. Like in the marking scheme they are indicating, we'll be indicating direct material, 1 mark for each correct entry for the 4, or the correct 4 at 1 mark. Direct material, it does not depend on the number of days. So this one here, you just walk away with. Then The overheads here depends on the normal working days. So just take your 30,000 by this. Again, it does not depend on the results of the learning curve. So already you have 2 marks, but you did not know anything about the learning curve. So that's how you harvest those 3 marks. So that is scenario 1 gone. Scenario 1 is gone. Of course, I will leave this format here. Or we just have another one. I think time is enough for us to complete everything. Let's go to scenario 2. In scenario 2, what is happening? In scenario 2, what is happening? These people are very, very funny. Scenario 2, to complete 14 buses using overtime and deliver 1 bus later. We want to now produce 14 buses using overtime, then deliver 1 later. Late delivery of the buses leads to a penalty of 1.5 million per bus. So already we have the penalty here. It does not depend on the number of days. This penalty is already appearing. That is 1 mark gone. Now let's come. Our A does not change, is 10. Our Y is equal to A, X, B plus 1. But now get to understand this. They're saying we produce only 14 buses first using the overtime. The rest will be delivered later. But what you need to understand, this 1 bus, we have to get the time taken to produce it. The time they're going to take to produce this 1 bus, so that we know the total direct labor cost to be incurred in producing that. You see how these people are very funny? So this is what you need to do. For you to get the time taken to deliver this 1 bus, you need to give us Y at 15 is equal to A times 15 B plus 1 less A times 14 B plus 1. If you take the time taken to produce the 15 buses, less time taken to produce the 14 buses, that difference will enable you to get the time taken to produce the 15th bus, which they are going to deliver later. Tunaelewana? Are you seeing how that concept is interesting? The first 15, or the first hours that we add there, 99, was to produce 15. We need to get the time taken to produce the 14 buses, which should be delivered even by use of overtime. Then that difference is time taken to produce the last bus, which we are going to use in computation of the cost for that scenario. So let's get, of course, we add this one here. We add this one here. That is A, which is 10 times 15 raised power B, which is negative 0.1520 plus 1. I think you gave me 99. Then A, which is 10 times 14 raised power 0.1520 plus 1. You should now give me the figure. You should now give me the figure here. Tuende haraka haraka kiasi. Time is not on our side. We still have 2 scenarios to deal with. Hapa ni ngapi? Haiwezi kuwa more than 99. Haiwezi kuwa more than 99. Haiwezi kuwa more than 99. Check on your workings. This is negative. Negative 0.1520 plus 1. Haiwezi kuwa more than 99. Ni ngapi? Good. It is 93. Now, this is the question. You've taken 99 hours, I mean days. You've taken 99 days to produce. You've taken 99 days to produce 15 buses. You are taking 93 days to produce 14 buses. So the last bus, or the bus to be delivered later, then the bus to be delivered later is the 15th bus. The 15th bus utachukua how many days for you to produce the 15th bus? The 15th bus itachukua siku ngapi? Will take us 6 days. That's a new thing being introduced. Good. Having done that, overtime ni ngapi? Someone to help me get overtime. In a normal working week should be, or a normal working time or days should be 92. But for you to produce the 14 buses by use of overtime, you've taken 93 days. My question is, how many days are there under overtime? How many days are there under overtime? Overtime itakuwa ngapi? Overtime itakuwa 1 day. Overtime itakuwa 1 day. So let's come here and indicate for scenario number 2, we need to have our direct material. Is it? Which we know will not change. So direct material which we require here, remember we are still going to produce the 15 buses, is it? Direct material which you are going to purchase will still be the same. So I need 2,500,000 by 15 buses. Itakuwa ngapi hapa? Was it 37,500? 37,500, is it? After direct material, I need direct labor. My direct labor is divided into normal days. Normal days, which is equivalent to 180,000 by the normal days. Then we have overtime. Overtime, which is equivalent to 360 times the overtime number of days, which is 1. Having done that, this one here, having done that, remember this cost that we are incurring here, the direct labor, we are dealing with how many units? Somebody to help me there. How many units are we dealing with under this part only, the direct labor? Tuna deal na units ngapi? How many units are we dealing with under scenario 2? In total, we are supposed to produce 15. But these 93 days we are taking to produce how many units? 14. So your normal days will be 180,000 by 92 for the 14. Your overtime will be 360 times 1 for the 14. Now, we need to get the time taken for producing the last or the 15th bus. Direct labor or normal days for the 15th. The 15th bus, you are going to take how many days? 6. These 6 days is not overtime. The 6 days is not overtime. You are going to deliver it later, yes, but just during the normal working hours. So I'll be taking that one bus multiplied by, I'll be taking the number of days, which is 6, I multiply by the normal rate per day. I multiply by the normal rate per day. So that one will give me the direct labor. Then I need to have overheads. Sasa hapa nitashika watu. Overheads are allocated at 30,000 shillings per day for the normal working days. So before we get to even that, I want to see these figures here. 180,000 by 92. Tulikuwa tunapata ngapi hapa? You have it somewhere. 180 by 32 by 92. 180 by 92. 180,000 by 92. Tulikuwa na ngapi? 560,000. So 560,000. Good. Then overtime 360,000. Is it? Good. Then normal days for the 15th bus will be 6 days times 180,000. Tunakuwa na ngapi hapa? 6 by 180,000. 6 by 180. Is it 1080,000? 1080,000. 1080,000. Good. Now, overtime. This is where I want to see whether people are following what we are doing or they are copying notes. Overtime. Overtime rate is 30,000 by the number of days. Let me read the statement for you. The overtimes will be allocated to the special order at the rate of 30,000 per normal working day, and no overtimes will be allocated for overtime working. Sasa nataka mnipatie number of days hapa to summarize hii kitu ishe. How many days? How many days will we have there? How many days? Yes, let's type the number of days there. How many days? How many days? How many days? Please don't let me down. How many days? How many days? Yes, let's see. Now, during the production of the 14 buses, within the time allowed, you are told that if you're going to if you're given this tender or contract, you need to complete it within 15 days. If you go beyond 15 days, for the extra days, we are going to charge you. But this person has said, the first 14 buses, I will work overtime and deliver them within that particular time. But the extra bus, I cannot work within the deadline. So I will work beyond the deadline. But my employees will be working during their normal working hours of the day. They're going to work to produce that one bus. So the extra, the 15th bus will be produced within the normal working hours. The first 14 they produced within 93 days. Out of 93, 92 are normal working hours. One was the overtime. The last bus, the 15th bus, they took 6 days. And these 6 days were their normal working days. So how many days do we have in total? How many days do we have in total? So the overtimes will be allocated to 90 to 98 days. Another way to identify that, look at your labor hours here, or the labor cost. How many days did you use the 180 rate for? The first one is the normal days for the 14. I used 180. The second one is this one bus, which I used 180. So add 6 plus 92. Is it not giving us 98? So give me the answer here. Give me the answer here. Give me the answer here. 98 by 30,000. Tutakuwa na ngapi? 98 by 30,000 tutakuwa na ngapi? Someone. 98 by 30 days. 29,40,000. 29,40. Is it 29 million or 29,40,000? Good. Having done that, we should not forget that this one bus was delivered below or after the deadline. And if you do that mistake, there's a penalty. If you do that mistake, there's a penalty of 1.5 million, 1.5 million per bus. And they only delivered one bus after the deadline. If you add everything, you should be able to get production cost. Tunakuwa na ngapi? Ongeza kila kitu. Ongeza kila kitu. Ongeza kila kitu under scenario 2. Then we get to scenario number 3. Ongeza kila kitu there. Ongeza kila kitu. Then we get to scenario. Ongeza kila kitu, then we get to scenario number 3. 59,940. 59,940,000. Okay, I can see 2 people are getting that, so I will be just assume that everyone will be getting this. Everyone should be getting that. Everyone should be getting that. So let's come to scenario number 3. What are they doing? To assemble and deliver 13 buses without overtime and deliver 2 buses later. Sasa hapa kuna overtime. They want to deliver 13 buses. Our A is equal to 10. Our B is equal to negative 0.1520. Then our XY at 15 is equal to A times X, which is 15, raised power negative 0.1520 plus 1. This one was giving us 99 days. I believe you can remember. They are going to deliver 2, produce 13, and deliver 2 later. Hapo ukideliver 2 later, ushagongwa penalty 1.5 per bus. So already they have a penalty of 3 million. Good. So let's look at the number of days they are going to take to produce the 13 buses. The first 15 minus the first 13 will give us the difference between those two. So let's first of all get the time taken to produce the first 13. Y at 13 will be equivalent to 10 times 13 raised power negative 0.1520 plus 1. Tunapata ngapi? Tunapata ngapi? Tunapata ngapi? Watu hawaongei hapa. We have 88 days. So without even telling you whether there was overtime or not, a normal working day should be 92 days. They have managed to work for 88 days without overtime. So number 1, overtime itakuwa ngapi? 0. Hiyo overtime tumemalizana nayo. Great. Having done that, we want to take time or days taken to produce. Days taken to produce the last 2 units. Days taken to produce the last 2 units. They took 99 days to produce 15 units. They took 88 days to produce 13 units. The difference will be the time taken to produce the last 2 units. So how many days are those? How many days are those? Tutakuwa na ngapi? 11 days. 11 days. Let's now go to the summary table here. Very interesting. Very simple. Direct material will not change. So just give me the amount for direct material. We add 2,500,000 by 15 units. Ilikuwa ngapi? Was it 37,500? can remember that figure somewhere there. 37,500. Kulikuwa na kitu kama hiyo. Good. After direct material, let's go to direct labor. Direct labor is divided into normal days. Remember, normal days is for the first 13, and we don't have overtime anywhere. So the normal days we have for producing 13 units, not even the units is important here. It is per day. So the number of days of producing the 13 units is equivalent to 88. And because it is within the normal days, we multiply by the normal rate. So somebody to post for us the answer there. That is for the first 13 units. Then the last 2 units, they are taking 11 days. So let delivery units here delivered units, they are taking 11 days, and it is not within the overtime. It is still within the normal working days. Times 180,000. I'm told it is 1584. 15,840, 999, 15,840, 999. Somebody is giving me that. I want to see majority. I want to see what majority are giving me. 1540. So let me work with majority. You can check on that and let me confirm whoever is correct. Then 11 by 180,000 tunakuwa na ngapi? 1980,000. 1980,000. Direct material, direct labor, late delivery units. Then we have what we call overheads. Overheads are paid on the normal working days. The normal working days here, we have the 88 for the 13 units and 11 for the 2 units. Total itakuwa ngapi? Total itakuwa ngapi? They want to avoid the overtime because this overtime is making them to pay a lot of money. So scenario 3, they are trying to do what? They are trying to take that option of, yes, the overhead will be 99 times 30,000. Tutakuwa na ngapi hapa? 99 by 30,000. 99 by 30,000 ni ngapi? 99 by 30,000 ni ngapi? 2970. 2970. 2970,000. Good. Is there anything we are leaving out? Is there anything we are leaving out? Let's see if we are really copying notes or we are following something. Is there something we are leaving out? Penalty. So we have a penalty here for late delivery. There's a penalty for late delivery and 2 buses were delivered after the deadline. So we have 2 times 1.5 million. That will be 3. They are paying 3 million. Production costs. How much was incurred to produce the 15 buses under scenario 3? How much or how many days were taken to produce? 61,290,000. 61. 290,000. 61,290,000. So that is what was incurred under scenario 3. For a company, they want to minimize cost of production. So among the 3 scenarios, which one has got the lowest production cost? Among the three scenarios, which scenario has got the lowest production cost? Which one? Which one? Is it scenario 1 or 2 or 3? Check your workings. Remember, I've just done away with mine. Scenario 1 will make these people to incur the lowest production cost. So you are being told how much will they save if they don't go the target profit way. The target profit way is now coming in. Additional information number 1. Additional information number 1 is now coming in here. And how are you going to use that additional information number 1? The target profit margin is 20% of the target price per bus. They are intending to sell, so selling price per bus, they are intending to sell one bus at, where are we supposed to use the profit margin? Sasa tumefika hapo. The selling price per bus is 8 million. That is the selling price. And we are told the target profit margin. I believe at this level, we understand the difference between margin and markup. Markup is on the cost, margin is on the sales value. So we are told that margin is 20%, which is the same as 1 over 5. Is it? Margin is 20%, the same as 1 over 5. So it means your markup will be 1 over 4. Your markup will be 1 over 4. Now, if you have that, let's get the margin. Margin itakuwa ngapi? Margin is equivalent to 1/5 of 8 million. How much will we have here? How much will we have here? Or 20% of 8 million ni ngapi? 20% of 8 million? 20% of 8 million ni ngapi? 16 or 1600,000. So we have 1600,000. Ukitoa hiyo unapata ngapi? Cost per bus unapata ngapi? Unapata 6400. Now, one bus total cost, or what is the question there? Yes. So total cost itakuwa 6400 by 15. Tutakuwa na ngapi hapa? By 15 itakuwa ngapi? 6400,000 by 15. $6,400 by 15, 96 million. If you use the target cost approach, they would have incurred 96 million to provide the 15 buses. But if they use the most economical scenario, which is 1, the production cost we were getting was 59 point something or 54. Was it 59 point something? 59,340. 59,340,000. Now, as a company, you are trying to minimize cost of production. You anticipated, or the target cost approach is telling you that you are supposed to spend 96 million. But if you go to the production cost under the scenarios which you are having there, you are only spending 59,340. So there's a benefit. There's amount you are going to save. The amount saved is now the difference. Nipatie difference alafu tupatane Saturday 6 p.m. Nipatie the difference, then we meet on Saturday 6 p.m. Give me the difference. Give me the difference. Give me the difference. Give me the difference. How much are they saving for the 15 buses? How much are they saving for the 15 buses? How much are they saving for the 15 buses? $36,366. Is it 36 million? So that is what they are going to save. That's the amount saved if they are supposed to use, the scenario 1, which is the most economical. So as you've seen, all this was revolving around the learning curve. You first of all use the learning curve to get the days for you to be able to get the direct labor cost. Then you use it to get the costing. So those are I think I've done all the challenging methods they are supposed to use when testing you on learning curve. It was there in August, it was there in April, it was there in December, it was there in August 2022, it was there in April 2022, it was there in December 2021. What does it tell you? In December 2023, it will be there. So do the right thing. Thanks for your time. Have a blessed night, and let's meet on